All right. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Hope everyone can hear me okay. Good morning, Ron. Don't forget to change your contracts if you have not done so already. We're in the October contract for our energies. V is in Victor, CLV21. You can see the volume is still light, but it has migrated over, and it is the 18th of the month. The first day of the new contract should never be later than the 18th. All right. Good morning, Miles, Crazy Ivan, John. Good morning, guys. Glad you could hear me okay. Please don't forget to hit the like button. All right. So just a quick run through. Markets are going to open any second here. Let's just look at the time. Yeah, we got about 45 seconds. So anyway, Pound Aussie started off with this green trade, which real small targets could not get to our minimum and stopped out. So first trade was a losing trade this morning on the Pound Aussie. And crude oil, this is with Spotlight, of course, got long here and then had to flip over to short. And then it hit a nice target after the adjustment down to 84. So, I hate those adjustments, but you got to do them. 15 ticks then on target one. So, still got a little work to do to get power of quitting on that, but the stop is pushing lower now. 66.81 is now the stop with the chance of getting lower here. We have FOMC meeting minutes today. All right, the market's just opened. There's a long on the Dow E-mini. 35,151 is the entry. Did just trigger in. Looking like it could be a reaction move into our blue line that could try to test these lows here. It's a kind of setup I prefer to test the lows and then come up and grab it. See right here making a higher low, not quite able to make a new low. So if it comes back up, this is where I like to take these types of trades. A little adjustment above that spike right there. So I'd be interested in getting in on this trade if it comes up. That would push that entry up to 52. And it did just hit 52. So 52. And now it's got to get through some resistance, but that's targeting 76 and 91. And the stop is, of course, at 114. Order filled. Which is below the low of the day. So it would have to make new lows to come down and get stopped out. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Money management is all the way up at 173. Let's mark that with this line here. Let's see if we can get up through that 50. Uh-oh, got a possible stop and reverse now. That is a stop and reverse at 34. Stops need to go to 34, and it did just stop and reverse. Order filled. Order filled. And that is targeting 117 and 106, and the stop is at 163. And it hit money management and then came up and really should be flat now.
Order filled.
Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So we'll wait for another trade. Rough going here. But that money management is there for a reason. And a new long. Things are moving quick. That's at 58. And it hit 58. I'd get in at 61. And the failure to get lower could lead to a move higher. 61 now, the trade on the YM. The stop's at 114. Again, below the low of the day. Targeting 195 and 215. Good sized trade, really. But you could see we've had up, down, up, down, up, down. And really that entry should go in at 62 just to be safe. Well, a little extra confirmation to get above that spike on the left. So it looks like that trade may cancel. I'm assuming it went too fast and no one can get filled on it. So the extra adjustment keeps this trade alive as long as it hasn't stopped out. All right, well, it did come up and hit the adjusted entry. Let's hope we can break out of this range. These wavy up, down, up, down, up, down patterns here, it's hard to make money on, so we need to break out. We haven't been able to get lower on numerous attempts. Good support down in here at 35, 120. So let's see now if we can push higher. We're above the 50 moving average. Money management in this trade is 191. Right there. And I'm sticking on this chart here just because there's so much fast action and trying to get to power of quitting. And it could be if we hit these targets, we will get there. All right, so that's what's going on with that. Meanwhile, crude oil ended up hitting all four of its targets. Stopped. It got long then. Oh, wait a sec. Sorry. Wrong place on the chart. It did not. It stopped out, got long, and hit a small target here. 10 ticks to target 2. Not much to write home about on crude. The crude's going to be a little bit dicey today. It's the rollover day. Definitely an extra ingredient in the pot. Catapult on unleaded here had that early trade. I forget what time this one starts. We could look at that in a bit. markets definitely are jittery. And the YM just can't seem to get out of that range here, but it has been poking higher and putting in some higher lows too. Let's see if that holds and it continues to work its way up. Good morning, Armando. Good morning, John Ford. Hope you're all doing well. Good morning, John C. All right, the YM just doesn't want to get out of this ugly pattern here. So far, support's been holding. Get the feeling it's going to capitulate lower.
Order.
Yeah, stopping out. Bummer. Yep. So the YM off to a rough start this morning. It keeps piercing through that support and then no follow through. So something's got to give here. Another long on the YM, this time at 144, 146, moving fast. And now, I mean, geez, it's probably too fast to grab to really be ready for that. It already hit money management, so this is your expanding range where you break out of resistance, move into the middle, break out of support, move into the middle. Really tough. When you get patterns like this, you ultimately resolve with maybe a strong move, which might be this one, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to grab it. Should have anticipated it really, but didn't even hit target one yet. There it is. I don't know. Let me know if you got that trade. It's probably enough time. It's just a matter of anticipating it on that final setup. You have to realize there's a blue bar above the histogram, so 3 higher closes will give you your dots. It's hard to anticipate that. It really is. It's doable, but it's hard. All right, meantime, finally getting pretty messy here to start on unleaded. I really got to look at the automation to see what the plan is on this start time, because I've got a few different ones and I forget which is which. Well, you can see here the first trade right there, and that's at 8:56. So I think this one begins at 8:45. Okay, so 8:45, and it's two trades, or one if there's a loser first, and it's got it going to target 4 only, a single position, but obviously you can go to targets 3 or 4 and or trail. You have some choices on this, and that first trade definitely got to target 3, but then the second trade lost. So those were the 2 trades of this plan. There are other plans, of course, and you could certainly start at later times too. It's really just a matter of figuring out a start time and then when you're going to stop trading. I mean, that's how Catapult works, because you got a lot of trades and you just want to figure out not to overtrade and to quit positive most of the time. So yeah, Crazy Ivan in the sim. Did I ask you a question and then I forgot what I was asking? If anyone traded the YM, did you trade the YM? Was that the one? Don't remember now. Kind of rough going. Look, this pattern on soybeans looked very similar, although that's in the middle of the night. So let's see, 8:30. I mean, really, soybeans did pretty decent. If you got in at 8:30, this was the long trade. The stop held. The filter kept you from getting short. Well, it would have actually, that never triggered in, but it did come up. It came up and it hit its first target. Wasn't that big of a target, but it still counted. 2.25 points. So soybeans, not the prettiest of charts, but it was one and done. Hit its target objective. 8:31, stopping out at 8:37. So like a 6-minute trade, one and done. Again, not bad. Good morning, Gavin. Got a short on the pound, Aussie again. 89.94. The stop at 90.13. Target one counts. It's 12 pips. 89.82, then 89.87, 68, and 61 are those targets if that gets short. Got some heating oil plans doing pretty well this morning. Let's kind of go around the horn here. I believe this one probably starts at 9:30. I really got to find a way to label these. It's one thing lacking with these charts is a good label. Just to double check it. Yeah, 9:30 start time. So that one hitting its goals on the first trade. And you could see there's your one and done on that. Some nice movement on this one. Nice scalp and run trade here. just to see where this one's trying to come up and hit new equity highs. Hasn't done it yet, but getting closer. This one, yeah, this one starts at 905. It would help if we looked at the right data window, wouldn't it? Yeah, so there we go. 912. Your first trade of the morning with that one. So not bad. This one also is a 2-winner, up to 5 trades total to get to your 2 winners. That's what that plan is. This one started, well, let me look at the other settings. 9:30. Yeah, so this one has a start time of 9:05, but then we use a setup start time at 9:30. So what that means is that anything before 9:30, you don't even see the trades. So it's a little different way we're using the timing, but it works really well. Keeps it really, like, there's no doubt. Gray, flat. And then you get the setup after the start time, and works great. Some of these other ones, this one, 9:05 start time, and this is similar. What's the difference? I'd have to look at the settings here to see. I think it's the same, actually. It's just that this is the actually it's the wrong chart because we're in October now, so I haven't changed all these over yet. So one of them's a continuous chart and the other one is the contract chart. That's the difference, I think. Let's wait for that to load. Anyway, you can see heating oil's done well this morning so far. And there is your V October contract there. Yeah, JP. That sounds interesting. Bruce, I haven't looked at natural gas. Natural gas is one of those manual tested, test it manually. So the way to do natural gas is with the 3-step sniff test. And I haven't given it tons of time. I added it as an added value because it was an energy, but heating oil and unleaded have been so strong that I've mainly focused on that, and then also working on grains. So I have to prioritize. That's why I teach you guys the techniques so that you can chase down your own ideas. But natural gas would not be my first choice when so many of these other markets are just trading so well. So no, nothing on that yet. And welcome, Crypticon. Yeah, the 3-step sniff test. So just remember, open a chart, see if there's enough trades in a session with a start time, just simple start time, stop time. Then see if the trades are an appropriate size. Remember, natural gas goes 3 digits out to the right of the decimal point. Every tick is $10. And then just fast test it with a real simple plan. I would do one and done, or one winner with a few trades between a certain tight time frame, start and stop time, and then count and see if you can win most of your sessions. And start with that. That's what I would do. I think a 10-tick momentum bar is a good, I'm happy to open up a chart and just go through the motions and take a peek at it. Let me see if I have a default calculator, and I think I'll give that a shot. I'll be right back. All right, so the pound Aussie got short. All right, I just kind of grabbed a crude oil chart. I'll have to look and see if it's close to default settings. I put on nat gas with a 10 tick range bar, momentum bar 0.01 is 10 ticks. And typical 9 a.m. start time, just as a benchmark to start looking. That's a good time to start sniffing, so to speak. And here we go. It's 9:07. You had another setup at the line turned green, which would have canceled it. Anything before that's before 9, so we're not interested. At least not at this moment. Start with something. I think 9 a.m. is a good benchmark to start here, and you could see it did trigger in and come down and hit all its targets. So, an initial first look, and it looks like it's pretty close to default settings. We could take a peek. I don't see anything really jumping out at me that is different. Yeah, it's pretty much default everything. I do have the key level adjustment set to true, but other than that, there's your nat gas, one and done. But it's still on the September contract, so that's the problem. It's rollover. I could put on the October contract, but there isn't really enough data to look back, but we can go ahead and see what that looks like. So the problem with continuous contracts is they don't always roll over at the right time. Of course, nat gas, maybe it does roll over on a different day. I don't know. I don't really follow it that carefully. But let's go ahead and look at the October contract. I think the September contract, that was showing 32,000 contracts on that September contract. So you could see it's at 16,000 on October. So October was a winner also, but the volume still hasn't moved over. So maybe it rolls over on a different day than crude. Again, it's not something I follow very carefully. Yeah, so right, Bruce. So that it's because it's default. Claude, I was looking. This is a natural gas chart, NG, and October. You could see it's still half the volume. There was 32,000 still in September. We could go ahead and go back to September because you definitely want to stay on the chart with the most volume. And I pulled this up because Bruce asked about it, but I would just start with this, Bruce, and fast test it. Can you start at a certain time? I think 9 o'clock's as good as any, just as a keeping it, simple. And even if you started at 9:05 or 9:02, I don't know. You learn that at some point when you look at enough charts. But this is 9:07 already. So this is the September chart. Double the volume, 32,000 versus the 16,000 on October. So it hasn't rolled over yet, but it's in the process of rolling over. You can see there's volume on the October chart. It just hasn't caught up yet. And nat gas is 3 digits over. So when you look at the chart or look at the setup, you can see the entry is 3.849. Every tick is $10. So it's real money. 12 ticks at target 2, 17 ticks at target 3, 22 ticks at target 4. And that's $220 right there. But it's also not moving very quickly, is it? I mean, it triggered in at 9:30:26. The setup happened at 9:07. So 9:07, 1, 2, 3 bars later, and it's 9:26. And then finally hitting target 4 at 9:56. And I don't know if you could go smaller and get faster moving charts, but then you get smaller trades too. So I think that the 10 tick size is the right size. So it's just a matter now of fast testing it, making sure you can quit positive most of the time with minimal trading. And if you can, your fast test passes muster, then commit to the UTA spreadsheet. That's the process. Sure thing, Bruce. Claude, was that what you were asking? You asked what the symbol was, and I'm not sure if that was the chart you were referring to. Counterpunch Trader on crude oil this morning on the October contract. Not very good. Let's see. Yeah, 8:50. There's an 8:50 start time. That one takes a loss and then gets short. And that one gets at least target 1, but it needs to go to target 2. So that's a break even. And then you're in the purple trade, and that one did get to target 2. So maybe it did do well. I don't know. Let's see. It made 28 cents. And then on that first losing trade, it lost 22 cents. So it did barely squeak out a positive result with 3 trades. If you were starting at 9, then you did better. Well, if you came down and got in sync here, barely touched the entry, the question is, do you adjust down? Tough call. We'll just call that a loss also. So, I mean, either way, the first trade loses, the second trade breaks even, and the third trade wins. and that is enough for power of quitting. It hit that target perfectly. 3 different bars. And then if you needed another trade, that one also a full winner. So certainly Counterpunch Trader was able to pull it out with the 377 tick this morning with crude oil. So that's a winning session, even though that first trade lost. I don't think we finished looking at unleaded gas. Take a peek. So there's this get in sync. The blue trade here actually is going to lose, and it's going to flip over to short. And that one's going to come down and hit break even and not make any money and then stop out at break even. So he's slightly underwater with a partial loss on that first trade. And unfortunately, the third and fourth trade both lose. So unleaded gas this morning with Spotlight, not very good, obviously. Finally a winner, but that's already too many trades, I think. Catapult, I think, fared better just because of that quick winner on that first trade. And then it just depends on whatever your trade plan is, how many trades you take, because clearly there was a loser and another loser. But then there was a break even, a loser that probably went too fast to grab. Yeah, I mean, it got dicey in here, obviously. We saw that with Spotlight, but then it caught the nice move down. But by then, you're probably not trading. It just depends on your start time and your trade plan. But it's hard to do anything with a chart pattern like that. It's just crap. We saw that on the YM kind of too, on the bottom side. But when you get the up, down, it's ultimately rolling over and starting to capitulate, and you could anticipate there's going to be a strong move down, which happens. We've seen this pattern before. In fact, we were just talking about it, I think, either Monday or last week, I forget, but we were talking about how that rolling over process, what it looks like. It's hard to anticipate it sometimes, or at least to know when to get in on it. One thing you can do is slow the chart down and go to a slower chart, bigger range bar, helps clean up some of that. Sometimes you could see those patterns clearer when you do that. I mean, Catapult's pretty good for that too. See if I could find an example. Well, not really. I'm going to end up with one chart too many open and then crash trade station is what's going to happen. Let's see if I can squeak out one more here. Let's look at a 33 tick just to get a different point of view. This is still looking at the September contract. Let's see, the September contract is showing almost 16,000. Let's look at October, which I think is what we really need to be looking at. That would all obviously make a difference. So that unleaded gas chart we were looking at, yeah, you could see more volume in October. The 33 tick, the first trade loses, and then you get a winner to target 3, and then another winner. But you could easily see like the head and shoulders pattern right here with the 33 tick, where the 20 tick, it was just, you see it, it's harder to see because you have so many more bars. But let's go back to that chart now that we got the right contract and see how different it may look from this morning's example on the September. Because that's the problem again with the continuous charts. They don't roll over at the right time. So it looks quite a bit different actually. For whatever reason, the automation only showing the one trade, which was a break even. It's just that, again, a flaw with automation is it's based on the close of the bar. So it assumes the stop out is after the bar closes. It automatically stops out when the next bar opens. So if you're trading it intra-bar, you should be getting out at break even, then another break even. You do have your couple losses. Yeah, it's still pretty dicey. Just crap. Rollover days are often like this. Claude, so RB is unleaded gas futures. If you're asking about RB, that's unleaded gas futures. NG is natural gas. Most of them are easy to understand, but RB doesn't make sense. Why don't they call it UL or something? I don't know. Hopefully that answers your question. All right, guys, so just some reminders. Tomorrow, no trade room. John Lizar is with us today, but he won't be available tomorrow, so we're going to be dark day off tomorrow from trade room. Next week we should be fairly normal, except next Thursday, a week from tomorrow, planning the Catapult Advanced Membership Boot Camp, all about the trade assist and automation. And it doesn't have to be just energies. The automation covers all the catapults. And that will be a week from tomorrow. So emails should be going out for that. If you haven't received any yet, you will. And then it looks like the grains boot camp, there's been a slight schedule change. We were going to do it on Thursday, the 9th, but now it's looking like Friday the 10th. Friday the 10th, Thursday the 9th, not possible. So John Ford, Friday the 10th is the day. And it has to be then, because then I'm leaving town for a bit. And I want to do it before I leave. So there's still time to get in on grains and the advanced membership for the automation. Some good deals on that. I have an offer for that too, a promotional offer. If anyone's interested in knowing what that is, it's actually a pretty good deal. The automation is very useful. Sounds good, John. Never been to Fulton, Illinois. I've never been. I have to fly to Portland on Friday. Quick turnaround trip for me. All right, so this is around the time when I'll close this room and then reopen it for the crude oil report. So I'm going to do that. If you have any other questions, just come back in a few moments. We'll get set up for the crude oil inventory report. And I'll see you guys momentarily.